Is this working? Hello? Okay, hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. So yeah, we're going to be just doing some more work today. I think we'll do a bunch of fun stuff today, although I keep saying that and then we get bogged down in something that's very tricky to do. But that's how game dev goes. So we're going to be... I have this new zombie card that I created, which doesn't look very good right now because I don't have the background. So let me add a background. Boom. So I created a new zombie card, and that I did that last night, but I have not yet implemented the logic for it. So we're going to get that implemented into the game. And yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. So that's the plan for at least the first little bit of the stream. I don't think I'm going to do anything really that different here. We'll get into what exactly I have planned for the zombie there, but before I get into it, I need to do my ads. So if you want to support my work, you could check out the links in the description below. One of them is Gunforged. This is my first commercial release as a full-time indie developer. It's got very positive reviews. It's a 2D roguelite shooter. So if you like these kinds of games, I think you'll have a good time with it. And again, it's a great way to support me. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested. Also, I've got my new Udemy course. This is the cooperative online multiplayer game in Godot 4. This teaches you all the essentials of multiplayer game development with the Godot high-level networking features. So remote procedure calls, multiplayer spawner, and multiplayer synchronizer. And we also learn about server authoritative architecture. So if that sounds interesting to you, then use the link in the description below to purchase this. I also have other courses available. I've got a GD course that's a pure single player game. It's a Vampire Survivors course. And then I have a C# course, which is a puzzle game. So all those are available to you down below. Again, it's a great way to support me, but also a great learning resource, I think, if you're trying to get into Godot. So with all that out of the way, let's see. I'm sorry, iCode stuff. I can't feature your message because I didn't have my software running before you sent a message. So welcome, iCode stuff. Good to see you always. Hello, Mycoon Dev. Great to see you as well. Gecko Solo, welcome to the stream. Fat Kid Games. Hello, hello. All right, so I don't yet have the zombie in the game at all yet. So let's go ahead and do that. So resource, card definition resource, zombie, save, in here, display name, zombie, art, quick load, zombie. All right, and then alternate art, we don't have that. This is a 2x2. Give it a 5-turn cooldown. It is a minion, of course. Do we want to give this a critical chance? Maybe we'll give it a 10% critical chance. Or maybe let's do 5% critical chance. Okay. And then we need to add a script for it. Let's close the chat here. Close everything. I really need to create a script for helping me make all these things. Data, card, new file, zombie.cs, zombie. Okay, so we're going to create a new... do we want to create... We're going to do a new simple damage. Magnitude of... I don't know. 14. Because it's a 2x2 card, so it needs to have quite a bit of damage. But I'm also going to add another ability in here, which is going to be a... I'm going to call it a paralysis chance. So I've got paralysis here, which is a base ability. Maybe I can do a conditional ability decorator. I wonder if I should create a new... I could use the conditional ability decorator. Oh no, can I? Yeah, I can use the conditional ability decorator. Okay. So let's just do a new file here. paralysis chance.cs. My cat doesn't know how to drink water, and so he makes an immense amount of noise when he's drinking. He's 2 rooms away, and I can hear his little laps echoing through the halls. Anyway, so let's see. Paralysis chance. So really what we need is a conditional ability decorator in here. Let's do a float chance. And I need to change this as well. Private read-only float base chance. So what this zombie is going to do is the zombie is going to have a chance to apply paralysis. And we don't need a scaler. Do we want a scaler? No, we don't want to scale this value. So this value, well, maybe it should go up. I haven't yet determined what happens if you go like above 100% scaling, but maybe we should scale it. So let's make float multiplier scaler. Is that right? I don't think that's right. Cannot implicitly convert. Oh, this is a float ability scaler. Interesting. Interesting. So we got base chance. This can go away. Hello, Galaxynarium. Welcome to the stream. Great to see you. Mycoon Dev, thank you for donating to the McDonald's Fund with the €1.49. Very much appreciate that. Thank you. It's very, very generous as always. So yeah, thank you and glad you're here. Are you East Coast time? I am East Coast time. Yes, indeed, Jack. Welcome. Hello, Emerson. Good morning to you. Snup Bill Yummers. Thank you for the Yummers message. Cat drink. ASMR, please. Oh my gosh. Yummers indeed. Didn't ever one of your previous Game Jam get an extension by any chance? Just curious. Yeah, that happens quite a bit. Usually because itch.io can get overwhelmed. Sometimes they will give an extra 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever to get it finished and submitted. I've seen it where sometimes the jam gets extended by 24 hours. So it does happen, but you should assume that it's not going to happen if you're interested in finishing the jam. Hello, Forgotten. Welcome back to the stream. I just finished my custom tile system. Now it's loading at runtime. My Terraria-like game is finally coming along. Very, very nice, yeah. Unfortunately, you do have to use a custom tile system if you want to do chunks like that, because the tile map, for whatever reason, is not very performant. I almost wish they would, like, extrapolate the tile map logic into, like, a pure class or something, so you could get all the... Maybe that's the part that's just not very efficient, though. But I don't know. There has to be a way to make the tile map more efficient. I don't know why it's so heavy to construct tile maps at runtime. But it's a very, very large limitation if you're trying to make a Terraria-like game, like a voxel game, with chunks. But anyway, so paralysis chance, so we need a var conditional ability decorator. New conditional ability decorator. What in the heck? Decorated ability. New simple paralysis, duration. Let's do 2. Okay, new simple paralysis 2. Value provider, conditional ability. Oh. Interesting. This only takes an int. Where is this being used? Okay, so I think what I might need to do is... Can I make this a generic viability value provider? Oh, the problem is the value provider is provided in this condition. I see. I almost wonder if I should make this generic. Is that going to break everything? Should I make it generic? Why would I make it generic? Make this interface generic that accepts either float or int. We might be going down a rabbit hole, everybody. Really? Okay. So that's going to break basically everywhere in the code, but maybe we'll go ahead and fix that. How do I add, let's see. Add a generic constraint for float or int here. I was doing that. Where t, oh, struct. Okay. I guess that works. T there. T there. T there. T there. Okay. So we're making that generic. This will have a float now. And I need a float value provider, so liability value provider. I create a new file, random chance provider .cs. I don't know if this is the right way to approach this, but maybe it's okay. What other providers do I have? Provider, random chance, ability value provider, execution count provider, card damage dealt, conditional value provider. These are all going to break now. That's okay. I'll go back and fix those in a second. I'll guess I'll just do card damage dealt. Random chance provider. Ability value provider float. Float get value. Random chance provider. I don't need any of this stuff. So we get rid of all this. Actually, I don't need a constructor at all. Look at that. So when we execute, what we're going to do, private float chance. In here, all we do is we say chance is equal to mathutil.rng.randf. And then we return chance. So now in here, in this paralysis chance here, we need a new chance provider. Var chance provider is equal to new random chance provider. We provide the chance provider in there, and then we do the condition. Random chance. Random chance is less than base chance. Yeah, I think that's right. Abilities. Dot add chance provider. Abilities dot add conditional ability decorator. Abilities dot add. Oh no, that's it. Alrighty. Scale for tier. I'm going to need to figure out the scaling. The description needs to be updated. Oops. Hello, Skullman. Are you using C#? Yes, I am. Do I need to learn GDScript as I have learned C# coming from Unity? I wouldn't say you need to learn it, no. If you're comfortable with C#, you can start Godot with C#. You're just going to probably encounter a lot of tutorials that are in GDScript, but it's fairly easy to translate. I've gone down a rabbit hole since yesterday about using immediate mesh to generate 3D trails. Also, morning. How is that working for you, Chris? Is it working out? The Godot API doesn't work on threads, so with a custom system, all I do is I do all the calculations on separate thread and just set the cell. Well, there you go. Yeah. So you do the calculations before you load the chunk, essentially, into the game. That's smart. So let's do this. Create a float 2% method in here. Value and converts it to a percent representation. For example, 0.51 becomes 51% with no decimal places. Oh, that's easy enough. All right, float to percent into value times 100. Okay, well, there you go. So now we can do description utils dot float to percent base chance to apply paralysis on hit to a random enemy minion for 2 turns. Okay, so there's our paralysis chance. And then in our zombie here, what we'll do is we'll do new paralysis chance 0.25. And I think that will work great. Okay. So now we're gonna have to fix all the places that I broke with the I ability value provider, because this is a generic now. I ability, so everywhere else that it's used is going to be an int, so that's fine. Int. We'll make this a generic as well. T, where T struct. Okay, I think that's good. So we're just converting these to generics now. Probably should have made it generic from the beginning, but I didn't have any use for non-integer values in this ability provider. Oh, int. Does this get called anywhere? It doesn't. Okay. I don't know why that needs to be there then. Don't want any methods hanging around that aren't used anywhere, because as the code base changes, I may be tempted to use that and there could be some drift, right? So one of the reasons why the sort of like the little "you aren't going to need it" quip is important is because you could end up designing a bunch of code that looks nice and like offers you all kinds of flexibility, but if you're not immediately using it and you don't use it for a while, the code base and how the code base works can shift around such that these methods that you created a while ago that were never called now are going to have wrong behaviors or are going to do something that isn't compatible with your system. So really you shouldn't have methods that just exist and aren't used unless you're, of course, building like an API or something, but because then it's up to the consumer of the API to use those things. But yeah, I think it's a good idea generally. Ability value provider. So I'm not done with this. This needs to be an int. Oops, int. This is not used anywhere either. Oh my gosh. Well, that's not going to work. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Dynamic typing. Should I use? I don't know if I should use dynamic, but whatever. If it fixes my issue. Just a lack of understanding yet about how Godot wants mesh data, whether I'm allowed to append to a surface or if I need to generate it over and over again each time I want to update it. Oh, interesting. Okay. Do we have an idea when the next code review will drop? Probably next week. I'll try to get one done by next week. I've been very busy doing course-related stuff, so. Do you know when your course will be going on sale? I missed it last time. No, I don't have any control over that. Udemy runs the sales, so just keep checking back. But thank you for your interest. Okay, we'll do this then. I don't know if dynamic is ideal to use in this situation, but it's going to be easier than whatever I've got going on here. Okay, so now the value scaler is generic, so that means that I need to change this everywhere. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just make this. I'll just force this to be an int. So let's go here. Oops, let's not make the value scalar generic. Let's just do int for now. Okay, yeah, I'll just do that. All right, anywhere that I missed? I don't think so. Let's just build and see what happens. Good morning, Adam. Welcome back. Oh, yeah, my Coon Dev. Kitty, yes, indeed. He's being very needy today. Conditional ability decorator. Oh, I think this needs to be an int as well. Oops. So now I need to find wherever this was used. Oh, yeah. I wonder if the AI could have done this for me just throughout the whole code base, but... Okay, build. What in the heck? This is annoying. Oh. When I call try get ancestor here, is there a way to get any conditional ability decorator? Rather than needing to specify that seems bad. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Ability. If not, should execute ability. Private bool should execute ability. Has int decorator is equal to that. Int. Sorry, this is kind of boring, but I think it's a good refactor. Has float decorator. If has int decorator, return int decorator should execute. If has float decorator, return that. Otherwise return true. Okay, and then up here what I'll do, oh, I just got that if not should execute ability, continue. Okay, perfect. So I'm just gonna look for those conditional ability decorators by int and float, and that should work fine. All right. Oh, thank you, Mycoon Dev, for the other €1.49 donation with the cat. Azir appreciates it. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? You're ridiculous. You're a ridiculous cat. Look at the camera. Yeah, see? People want to see your eyes. He's purring, believe it or not. He loves being manhandled. Right, bud? Right? All right. Okay. Yeah, kitty, yeah. All right, so I think everything's working. I'm going to need to give this a pretty good test, but I mean, honestly, there's a lot of changes in here, but most of that stuff is just getting the generic types in place. And that shouldn't really present any issues because I think the compiler would have caught those. But, you know, there's always a chance that I broke something, I guess. Anyway, the whole reason we did that is because we want to test the zombie now. So now we can actually get into the fun part. I also created a mausoleum key. I'll show you what that does too. So we got the mausoleum key. And we also got zombie here. So this needs to be zombie. Cool. All right, let's give it a run. Make no mistake, for goodness sake, feel the ground quake. Saturday coding with Firebelly. That's very, very catchy. You wanna, can I commission you to make a intro song for Saturday morning? It's like Saturday morning cartoons, except Saturday morning game dev. Okay, so the zombie has a 5% crit chance. It has 5 turns. Deal 14 damage, 25% chance to apply paralysis to a random enemy minion for 2 turns. And then the mausoleum key here. This gains a quarter of damage taken since last execution as shield or preserve. Preserve is doubled if there's an adjacent minion. But unfortunately, we only have room for the zombie here. So let's put the zombie on there. I don't know. I think the zombie turned out really good. What do you think? I'm pretty proud of this one, actually. I think it looks good. When did we get new cards? I did these last night. So the mausoleum key I implemented in its entirety last night, and then I also did the zombie art last night, but at the beginning of this stream is when I started working on the zombie functionality. So yeah. Let's go find a combat now. We'll enchant the zombie, why not? Echo. Let's just reduce the turn cooldown. All right, let's see what happens. So the zombie has a chance to paralyze enemy minions, and it also does 14 damage. Boom. Oh, it paralyzed the chicken. Let's see if it paralyzes another one. I think I'm gonna win, maybe? Nope, it didn't paralyze another one, but I won anyway, so we're good. Let's do this one now. Come on, paralyze. Paralyze! It's only a 25% chance, but... I think I'm gonna up. Well, I just want to make sure that this works. Come on, paralyze someone. Really? It worked once, but I feel like, I don't know. Humans are bad at statistics. I feel like it should have triggered the the chance much more than this. So I'm worried that there's probably an issue. Well, there's one way to test it, which is if I go to my zombie and make this 100%, then we can see. Oh no, not the chicken, yeah. Okay. Okay, that worked. Okay, that worked. Alright, so I guess maybe I was just getting really unlucky with that chance there, but I want to make the paralysis chance go up. So firstly, add generics to ability value providers and implement zombie. Okay, so this scaling now, make float multiplier scalar. What is this going to do? Original magnitude times... Original magnitude... okay. Add documentation to these methods that demonstrates how the scalars work. What? Try now. Oops. I told it to never add comments and then it won't even it won't even do it when I ask it to. Ability scalars. All right, creates a float multiplier scalar that increases the original magnitude by a percentage based on tier. With multiplier 0.5 in tier 3 equals... Okay. Hello, AF. Are you scared of AI taking over the industry? No, I'm not. I'm not scared of a takeover necessarily. I'm probably more optimistic about AI than a lot of people. I think that it's going to, it's going to hurt some people and it's going to hurt some employed people for sure. But I think AI as a tool is going to make it easier for solo developers with a vision to get games out and built in a reasonable amount of time. Because I think right now, like solo developers, I think just maybe on like a per capita basis, let's say, are going to have much more creative and interesting ideas, riskier ideas that bigger studios would kind of shy away from because, risky ideas are definitionally sort of unproven. But if a solo developer can use AI to bring a risky or more visionary idea to life quicker and reduce the development cycle time, then I actually think that we're going to get more quality games, not fewer. Obviously you are going to get a lot more shovelware being built with AI, but shovelware is already a problem, so AI is just going to exacerbate that. But at the other end of the extreme, I think you're going to see solo developers able to make games that would take a team, a couple years in like a year. So that's my optimistic view anyway. But we will see. Yeah. You told him not to add comments. I did. I think I got my answer. Yeah, I like using AI for rote code stuff, like writing all this documentation here. Like, I didn't want to write this myself, so the AI can just do it for me. And now I have that additive float scaler. So what I can do now is I can go to my paralysis chance. Private read-only ability scaler. Is this a float ability scaler? Yeah. Chance scaler. Make float additive scaler. Yep. And then in here, private read-only float current chance equals chance. Current chance is equal to scalar base chance tier or chance scalar. Oh, this is read-only. Private read-only float additive scale. This dot additive scale equals additive scale. Okay, I think that's going to work. We can get rid of this. So now in my zombie here, paralysis chance will make it grow by 10% every tier. We should be able to test this now. If I go to my run manager, and then I do zombie.increment tier, we should see a 35% paralysis chance now. And also we should see the damage increase. So let's see. Deal 21 damage, 25% chance to apply paralysis to an enemy minion. That's not correct. That is not correct. This needs to be current chance. The AI scared of me and my crappy prototypes. Welcome, potatoes. I meant more globally and when it's really going to be superior to any engineer on Earth. Yeah, I'm skeptical that that's going to happen at all. But we will see. Copilot gave up on my terrible PHP code and crashed my VS Code instance. Very nice. The AR's chicken our gerbs, yeah. Hello, Raised Ball, welcome back. You should be scared you were mean to Claude yesterday. Yeah, I was. I was indeed. I get the point, you're right on that. Microsoft Xbox would like to disagree with that. Never really chatted here, really enjoy having you around. Yeah, for sure. Welcome to the stream, great to have you here as well. Microsoft would get him fired before disagreeing. How do you know you're not AI? Ooh. Is there a reason you mostly use private vars and methods instead of protected? Yeah, I mean, protected is a very specific keyword. It means that any inherited classes can access those. But generally speaking, you want to keep your access level as narrow as possible until you actually need to open it up. So everything is private by default until you either need it to be protected or public. So, and even then, you know, it's kind of like you want to be careful about modifying protected variables in inherited classes because there may be some base logic that you bypass by directly setting values. So it's all part of the idea that you just need to be careful with how you're managing your data and your state, and having very restrictive accessibility levels by default helps avoid a lot of issues. Okay, so 35% chance now with this zombie. Well, that's kind of what makes me scared about AI. Maybe I'm just trying to grab a precise data set about how humans currently feel about AI. Who knows? Yeah. I don't personally buy into the doomsday scenarios like AI is going to replace everyone's jobs, because I fundamentally think that we're going to hit a wall with AI, that it's going to be good and it's going to be useful as a tool, but if it doesn't fundamentally have a human mind guiding it, it's never going to be reliable. And maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's my opinion. Like, we're going to hit a limit to the usefulness of AI, and that limit is going to basically be on the boundary of like what the AI is capable of and what a human mind is capable of. I want to see you paralyze something. Gee dang it. Paralyze something, please. Maybe I should look at the paralysis. How is the paralysis working? Okay. Every time I try using AI to code stuff, I get frustrated and just do it myself. I feel like it's more about hype to get money from investors. Yeah, well, this is kind of what I mean. It's like AI in the hands of an engineer that knows what he's doing is very powerful. AI in the hands of an engineer that is new or a beginner or, you know, is trying to rely on vibe coding is not going to work. Actually, one of my good friends, we were talking about this over a Discord call. He's an engineer, he's using AI very heavily, but he was talking about how there's this idea that software is... I need to read the article, but the way that he paraphrased it was that software is like it's like a theory. Like, there's an entire theory behind crafting software. And the problem with AI is that it doesn't implement software with a coherent theory in mind. Like, it doesn't look at the code base and look at what you're trying to accomplish and then make good judgment calls about how things need to be implemented, what needs to be open for extensibility, or what can be just, you know, thrown together very hastily. It doesn't have like the deep knowledge or understanding of crafting a system. It might have an idea of that at a high level, like best practices, but for a given product or for a given company, it doesn't have the ability to weigh all the concerns and like make the code in an optimal way in terms of working on the code or delivering on the business objectives. And so my friend was talking about how he works in code bases that have very clearly been written mostly by AI, and there's no rhyme or reason to it at all. Like, it's just a bunch of functions scattered around. There's no theory at all behind the actual construction of the software. And so what that does is, yeah, it was very quick to get that app built and quote unquote working. But now that it's sufficiently large and none of the code has any guiding principles behind it, it's actually exceedingly difficult, even with AI, to continue building upon, because it's essentially just a spaghetti mess. And so the AI has a harder time understanding it because it's a spaghetti mess. The developer has a harder time understanding it because there's no theory behind it. And so you just end up hitting this point where, like, if you're just using AI to write your code with no guidance behind it, it gets to the point where not only does the AI become useless, but so does the developer. And so it's like, it's kind of a weird scenario, and I don't see that problem being fixed anytime soon. So maybe that's where some of my optimism comes from. Even AI comes, it will get wrecked by climate change. My problem with AI is that corps be making solutions to problems that didn't exist. Windows Copilot, for example. Yeah, I turned that off for sure. AI will be like the calculator. Instead of making mathematicians disappear, it'll simply make impossible problems possible and previously difficult ones easy. Yeah, I think that's right. We're on the era where you create a problem to create a product where you also solve that problem. The C URL repo started getting a bunch of garbage AI generated issues. Wow. I mean, I thought that would make like an interesting video because I don't know anything about C++. So I thought it would make an interesting video to try to add some functionality to the Godot engine using AI as like my sort of tutor that can get me into the code. And then the goal of that video would be to ultimately submit the pull request to the Godot engine and see if it can get merged. But I have so much other stuff to do that I haven't gotten into that, but I think it would be a fun video. Hammer will never replace a carpenter. Yeah. So is this gonna work? I want to see more paralyses. Come on, give me a paralysis. Why isn't it working? 35% chance. That means like over 1 in 3 hits. There we go. I don't know if I'm getting very unlucky. I'm very skeptical of this. I think I'm kind of worried that there's a calculation problem here. Okay, there's a paralysis. Ooh. That dog hits hard. I mean, I think it's probably fine. What I might do is just add an extra thing in here. Why does it keep wanting to do that? gd.print. I just want to observe this. Hello, Rookie Tookie. You mean make a GD extension? No, I'm actually make a contribution to the Godot source code, is what I'm thinking. I'm very skeptical indeed. Upgrade the zombie. 55% chance now. Wait, that doesn't seem right. Tier 3, so at tier 1, yeah, it should be 45% chance. Why is it 55? Oh goodness. Well, there's definitely something wrong. Why is it printing twice? That's concerning. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't think I'm supposed to... Wait. Decorated ability value provider. Let me just see where this is used. I don't know why it's printing twice. That's a little bit concerning. Okay, so I have it set up correctly. Why is it executing twice? Let's put a breakpoint there. It's a little bit concerning. Maybe I can look at the stack trace and see where it's being called twice from. Okay, so here's the call stack. It's being called in should execute ability here. Okay. Now it's running again. Why is this should execute ability being called twice? Maybe there are two abilities that have the ancestor. Hold on. What is this ability here? Simple damage. Okay. Oh, am I... Hold on. No. Okay, this is the zombie. Okay, the zombie's executing now. Okay. So simple damage. Let's step through. Okay, so simple damage is not being affected. This ability now is damage. Okay, that's fine. Paralysis chance. Okay, so the paralysis chance, okay. Random chance provider. Okay, that one doesn't have conditional ability decorator. Okay. This is the simple paralysis, so here this one should be decorated. So it's going to return float decorator should execute. Okay. Now what ability is this? Paralysis. Oh. I see. Is that fine? So what essentially is happening here is this zombie, this has this paralysis chance. This is wrapping a conditional decorator around this simple paralysis here. Simple paralysis. Oh, you know what? I don't think I want this to scale, actually. So anyway, this simple paralysis here has underneath it a paralysis ability. So the simple paralysis and the paralysis that it contains are both being wrapped by this conditional ability decorator. So that's why this is happening twice. Now the good thing is that it's not executing the chance provider twice. So let me think, is that correct? I think that's correct. Because we don't want this to execute. We don't want that to execute, and we also don't want this paralysis here to execute either. So both of those are being detected. That's why that paralysis chance is being printed twice. So that's fine. I think that's right. The only other thing is that I think... So I know why that's happening now. I think that this paralysis is being scaled, though. I want to see if that's actually the case. For... Oh, I need to store a reference to the simple paralysis. Let's get rid of these windows. Private, read-only... Simple paralysis dot base magnitude, or no, dot get magnitude. What in the heck? I don't really want to do this, but public int get magnitude. Maybe I shouldn't, maybe I just shouldn't be using the simple paralysis in here. I don't know. I don't know. Get magnitude, but I think this is scaling with the zombies. That's weird. I might just have to, oh shoot. This is complex. Hello, Aragoth. Just wanted to say that your courses have helped me a lot to understand Godot. As someone who did game development 10 years ago in Unity, hopefully I will manage to publish a game created in Godot. Yeah, for sure. Glad that the courses helped, and welcome to the stream. Great to have you here. I tried AI. Its code is useful for a developer to show that he's doing something during a remote job, so he can complete his real code overnight to submit. Yeah, I can save you from the corpse seniors. Hello, as a bee. Wanted to make a vector art style game, but all the 2D skeletal are either difficult or expensive. Not sure what to do. Interesting. You can do bone animations in Godot with 2D. It might not be super feature rich, but you can do it. Affinity Designer, I can draw the sprites, but the animations are a big problem. Yeah, I mean, you can do bone setup in Godot with 2D. It's definitely possible because I've done it before. Okay, so this is not being scaled. This simple paralysis is not being scaled. Why is that not being scaled? How is scale for tier working? Oh, it's only scaling the composed abilities at the root level of the card. I see. Okay. So I can use simple paralysis there. Okay, so I think we're good. Sorry, it's just constant game of me relearning how to understand my code base. There is a problem here, though. Which is that the scaling is not working. So if I increment the zombie tier again, it's going to have a 55% paralysis chance, which is not correct. 55% chance to apply paralysis. So it deals, what, 14 damage by default. Wow, this is taking longer than I thought it was going to. This stupid zombie. 5, so 7 would be 21, 28. Is that how much it's dealing? Yeah, okay, so the damage scaling is working correctly. This paralysis chance, current chance equals, oh, this needs to be base chance. I just did my math wrong. Okay. Or I think the AI did the math wrong. I'll blame the AI. Okay, now 45% chance to apply paralysis to a random enemy minion for 2 turns. So that's scaling properly now. And let's just go ahead and check. I'm still kind of worried that this is not quite working right. Although that 28 damage is pretty good. Like, it has almost 50% chance of paralyzing and it's not doing it a lot of times. It seems like the failure rate is much higher than 55%. But again, that could just be me and my human inability to understand percentages. Yeah, see, like, I've hit... Let's see. Unfortunately, we gotta go to something that has a little bit more health. So that's 4 hits now that have not resulted in paralysis. 5 hits that have not resulted in paralysis. I can't really count that one because that kills the enemy, so it's not the same. I think there's something wrong here. Okay, so on the 6th hit, it did paralysis. Is something wrong here? Planning to get your latest course as well. Well, thank you, Aragoth. Appreciate that. Ahoy, my skeleton-themed amphibian-loving buddy. Yes, indeed. Welcome back, Any Key. AI always doing the math wrong. Yeah, seriously. Welcome back, Lunatic Edit. Never cease to be amazed at how wrong the AI can implement what you tell it to, yet it still technically works. Yeah. You have to proofread the code very carefully. There's no way this is a 45% chance. I feel like something... I should do a training dummy maybe. Wait, I can do that. Project settings, game debug, training dummy on. Okay, we got a training dummy now. Let's see what happens. 1 hit with no paralysis. 2 hits with no paralysis. 3 hits with no paralysis. 4 hits with no paralysis. 5 hits with no paralysis. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. Oh, wait. Never mind. The reason that's not working is because the training dummy is not tagged with minion. Maybe I'll just give it all the tags. So the paralysis only works against minions, so that was just a wrong test. So I gave the training dummy all the tags now. All right, now let's try it. Okay, it paralyzed that time. Look at this minion relic alchemical ritual weapon. It's everything. Okay, 1 without paralysis. 2 without paralysis. 3 without paralysis. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. Okay, so it failed 7 times in a row. 1. Oh, then it worked that time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let me ask the AI. If I have a 45% chance of succeeding, in any event, what is the probability that I fail 7 times in a row? So there's a 1.5% chance that you would go 7 times in a row fail 7 times in a row. Okay. That doesn't seem unreasonable, but it definitely doesn't seem correct. Let's try it again. There's random, then there's pseudo-random. What are you implementing? Well, everything in computing is pseudo-random, so except unless you have a pure random generator. Is it doing 45% chance twice? I think you said it was running, should hit twice. Yeah, but the chance is only being done once. The chance is only being calculated once. So even though the should execute is running twice, the underlying number it's using is not changing when it calls that. 1. I wasn't paying attention. I should pay attention. Do you not have a dojo style room with an unkillable target so you can configure and test things like this? I got the training dummy, yeah. Because even at 50% chance, it can hit 5% of the time easily. Hello, Ali. I thought you had a degree in applied mathematics, I mean computer science. No. Nope. I was doing a math minor for a while in college, and then I was like, nah, I don't want to do that anymore. After my 3rd calculus class, I was like, I'm done. What is that, 4 times now that it didn't hit? 5, 6, 7, something's wrong. 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so it failed 10 times. We'll knock it down by 1 because I don't know if the time. Okay. Now, what is the chance I fail 9 times in a row? So either I'm the luckiest person or unluckiest person alive, or there's something wrong. So there's a 1.5% chance of failing 7 times in a row and a 0.46% chance of failing 9 times in a row. And I just got both of those practically back to back. So I'm going to assume that there's something wrong here. So let's investigate. Let's do some investigation and see. It's possible that it's not wrong, but also it just seems to be very off. I didn't want to get bogged down with this stupid thing, but I mean, you can create a random chance table that ensures 45% chance means 45% of the time it procs always, versus 45% chance every single time. I'm not smart enough to understand what the difference is there. No, I don't think it's applying 45 times 45, but we'll investigate that. Kville, hello. Welcome back. Buy lotto tickets, yeah. You know what they say, lottery tickets are a tax on the poor. Anyway, so let me take a quick 3-minute break. I'm going to get a refill on all my drinks and whatnot, take a bio break, all that good stuff. And then when I come back, we're going to have to investigate why this zombie is being insubordinate. So we'll do that, but I'll be right back in 3 minutes and we will see what's going on. All right, I'm back. When you do a random chance every time, then there's always a 55% chance each attack will not proc. Oh, I forgot my drink. So 10 attacks not proccing is likely. But that's not what the AI is saying. The AI is saying that there's less than... So if there are 10 chance not proccing, the probability of that sequence happening would be less than 0.46%. Are you sure? That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right, because if I flip a coin enough times, what I will see in the pattern of data is that half are tails and half are heads, right? So it's fundamentally the same concept, right? This is essentially a coin flip, well, with a slight bias toward failure. But I should see generally over time that 45% of attacks are going to be procs, right? But how many coin flips? Well, I don't know how many I need to do. I'm seeing very clearly that 45% is not happening because the overwhelming majority of the attacks are not proccing. I don't understand what the difference is. It is a 45%. 45% chance per hit. What's the difference between 45% chance every hit and per hit? I don't understand the difference. All I know is in LoL I've fought Trin with a 1% chance to crit and he procced way more than this. Yeah, that's true. He didn't say I succeed 45% of the time, he said 45% chance of success. You are mixing up permutation and combination. If you flip a fair coin 1,000 times, 95% of the time, you will get somewhere between 469 and 531 of one side. Okay, well, I'm not smart enough for this, so I'm going to disregard all of this and just do some investigation as to why this is not working. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward thing. 45% chance to proc the paralysis. It's a pretty simple, just random calculation. That should be happening way more than it is. That's all that I'm concerned about here. I'm almost positive there's a problem here. So let's do this. Let's put a breakpoint here and let's see if this keeps getting regenerated, maybe. That's why I hated statistical math at college. Okay, well, I'm not going to do that because then I'm going to have to change all of the chances, like the crit chance that I have and everything. If I have to make it feel good for gameplay purposes, I will just increase the chance on hit. I'm not going to make it more complicated than it needs to be. Okay, so has int decorator. I don't know why that's breakpoint. Let's keep going. So it generates a chance here, 13%. Okay, so that worked. 92. That should work. Okay, so see, that one didn't work. Oh, wait. Yeah, that one didn't work. This 41 should proc here. It didn't work. Okay, so there is a problem here. So, yeah, this chance, even when it is under the threshold that it's supposed to be, is not applying the paralysis. Or unless I'm reading this wrong. Did the AI do the math wrong again? Okay. Get out of here. So, simple paralysis, chance provider, random chance provider. This is being executed here. Random chance is less than base chance. Yeah, so there were definitely situations where... Can I put a breakpoint here? See if this works. I just hate math in general. Can you increase the game speed and make it attack over and over like thousands of times to see if the chance is actually 45? Could just be 45 and you're getting unlucky. I might do that, but I think there is actually something wrong here. Oops. Oh, I just killed the dummy, so we'll go to the next one. So if I put this here, we'll increase the speed here. RNG.rand. So we got the chance here. This chance is 60. This random chance is 60. Base chance is 0.25. Oh, there's the problem. Yep, this base chance needs to be current chance. There we go. See, I knew there was a problem. It was just stuck at a perpetual 25% chance to hit. So now let me ask the AI. Let me see. Let me ask the AI now. Okay, now if I have a 25% chance to succeed, what is the probability that I will fail 7 times in a row? Okay, that seems much more reasonable. So if you're stuck at 25% chance to paralyze, yeah, failing 7 times in a row is actually very likely it's going to happen. A streak of 7 times or more is going to happen, or a streak of 7 time failures is going to happen 13% of the time. Now, maybe from a gameplay standpoint, to prevent that from feeling very bad, maybe I will want to do a table like Lunatic is suggesting. But I knew that there was something wrong with the actual raw chance. So let's see how that feels now that I've got the number correct. But yeah, I think Lunatic, I think you make a good point. I think if I wanted to make 45% of all hits, I mean, that may feel better for gameplay purposes too, so that might be something to investigate for sure. Because yeah, being at the mercy of just raw chance won't feel great as a player, I don't think. Okay, there we go. There we go again. Okay, that feels much more reasonable. Yeah, that's working. That feels much better than what it was. Okay. Very cool. So yeah, let's see. Hello, good morning. Just finished a multiplayer course. Was a little challenge to do it in C#, but learned a lot. Thanks for the course. You're welcome. Yeah, happy to hear, Trivia. And yeah, if you haven't, please consider leaving a review on the course. If you don't mind, that would help me a lot. Hello there. I bought your Udemy course for the survival game, and I love it. I'm doing a PhD in embedded security. Oh, so I have programming experience, and your pace and explanation is perfect. Thank you, Bolter. Appreciate that. I'm glad you like it. Feels reasonable. You can leave it that way. Procs crits shouldn't be 100% consistent. Yeah, I mean, that could be a gameplay decision. That could be a gameplay decision too, because it may feel better to make the crits more consistent in accordance with what their crit chance is, because that could add some predictability to the auto battler gameplay, right? So rather than being purely up to the mercy of chance, it's more a descriptor of like 10% of attacks or whatever will crit. So that might be something to play with. So what was the thing that you called it? It was a table. What is a... I'm going back in the chat here. I don't remember what it's called. Chance table. Okay. Chance table. Gotcha. So I'm going to write that down as something to investigate, because that may actually make the gameplay feel a little bit different in a good way. So let's see. Investigate using chance tables for procs, like crits and chance to apply, etc. You generate % of success, and the other is fail boolean. You can make a certain size and make it a queue. Oh, I see. So you do just like cycle through the queue then, so it's kind of predictable. So what do you do? So you generate, so if it's a 45% chance, you generate 100 entries in the table, and then, yeah, how does that work? I will have to look this up. Because how do you avoid the problem of having long streaks of, or maybe that's not the problem. Randomly set 40. Okay, so that doesn't fundamentally fix the problem of having long streaks of failures, because it is possible that all 45 could be like stacked to the end of the queue, right? So yeah, if you create a bucket that's like, here's the total number of hits or whatever, and 45 of them are always going to proc, doesn't necessarily solve the problem of like, yeah, you could go on long streaks of successes or long streaks of failures. I think maybe more what I was thinking of is like balancing it out so that, you know, like let's say if you had a 20% crit chance, every 5th attack would be like a guaranteed crit. You know what I mean? Which I guess wouldn't really be a probability. It would be more of a, I don't know how you would describe it. It wouldn't really be a probability. It would be like, I don't know what you would call that, but yeah. So maybe a chance table is not what I want exactly, but yeah. What tool are you using now? This is Obsidian with the Obsidian Kanban community plugin. It's not about moment to moment. It just ensures that an X attacks, it will be ensured to match % in a fewer number of times. Oh, I see. So I could generate a smaller queue. So if I had a 20% crit chance, I could have a queue of length 10 and then randomly set 2 of them. And really the longest streak that I could possibly go without critting would be 8, because then the last 2 would be guaranteed crits. Interesting. Interesting. Random is fine for proc crits. Fixed for human intuition, probably, yeah. I mean, that's the real problem, is like, this is a problem in games. Like, human intuition is just bad when it comes to probability. I'm exhibit A of this. I'm exhibit A. And that feels really bad in a game, because if you have a 10% chance to hit, that's actually a relatively low chance that lends itself to going long periods of time without actually proccing that. And as a player, that just feels bad, because you feel like 10%, oh, I'm gonna proc this relatively frequently, but that's not actually what happens, or that's not actually what can happen. So yeah, maybe something like a chance table would be good. 1, 5, and it'd be 4. Gotcha, yeah. Right. That makes sense. So I would have to dynamically, I would have to change the size of the chance table then, right? Based on, because if I've got like a 49% chance to proc something, I would need that level of granularity. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I'll have to investigate that. Wheel of Fortune and Balatro, yeah, I hate that card. I played Diablo for thousands of hours, and at this point I have a feeling for if a game is using chance table or true random. AI can easily code that for you. Does Diablo use a chance table? Or true random? Would you shuffle the table when you get to the bottom, or would the chances repeat in a pattern? I think what Lunatic said was to regenerate it. So once you get to the end of the queue, you just like, yeah, you essentially just reshuffle it and have the new queue. Yeah. Hello, Yeet. Welcome. So yeah, I forgot my drink, so let me go grab that real quick. All right, I'm back. Even streamers leave the room when I come in. That's funny. Okay, so I think the zombie is finally done. Goodness gracious. I think the zombie is finally done. Fix paralysis chance incorrect value. Diablo uses random each time, though D3 introduced pity timers for loot. Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that. Did anyone play the launch version of D3? Where there was a real money auction house? I think my cousin told me that he found an item that sold for like $80. He was like, yeah, I paid for my copy of Diablo with that in-game drop. It's kind of weird. But yeah, that game was not fun at launch because the loot was so rare to account for the real money auction house. What a fiasco that was. It was terrible, yeah. I think Diablo went too far in the other direction now, though. It's like, I don't know. I'm much more a fan of like Path of Exile, where, yeah, the loots in that game are not very common in terms of like the great items, but you can still farm the currency to go and trade with other players to get the items you need for your build. And I think that there's just a lot more valuable items in Path of Exile anyway, so you get like an Exalted Orb. I guess Chaos is the new one in Path of Exile too. So you can still get like really valuable currency on occasion, even if you're not getting armor that you can use or loot or whatever. D4 is the same, just now starting to get fun. Oh, gotcha. Maybe is it a good time to get back into Diablo 4? I was really excited about the Necromancer class in Diablo 4, but I just never felt that great to me. I hate PoE 2, they slowed it down way too much. See, I like the slowed down pace. I don't like the zip and go fast kind of gameplay. But I don't know. I feel like PoE 2 is in a weird spot. If you regen the Q, you can end up with a non-crit streak of 16 on a 20% chance. Your longest streak is not 8. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that is very true. Hello, Anonymous. I finished the V0 of my game yesterday, and I'm considering if I should port it from SDL2 to a proper engine. Do you think it would be hard to implement dynamic lighting and collisions myself? I have no idea, Anonymous. I'm sorry. I've never written a custom engine. I've never used SDL2, and I've never written a lighting system. So I'm afraid I can't give you any advice there. What I could say, though, is maybe pick up an engine and see how straightforward it is to do those things in the engine. And then you can kind of weigh if it'll be easier to use the engine or if it'll be easier to do what you want to do yourself. D4 made me stop buying AAA games for years. Oh, you didn't like it that much? It's all subjective. Yes, it is, yeah. Of course you wanted the Necromancer class, of course. There's this game that I just saw on my Steam page the other day called A Necromancer's Tale, which looks like the Necromancer power fantasy game that I've been like wanting, but the animations and the world just look so bland and like janky, and I don't want to spend money on it. It's like, oh, if this game had been made by like a AA studio or something, like it would be perfect, but oh well. Maybe next time. Hello, MKRD. SDL is awesome. What are we doing today? Well, we just got stuck on probabilities for the zombie. But there's a zombie in the game now, so you can see this little zombie. And he deals damage and has a chance to apply paralysis to a random enemy minion. So that's what we got going on there. But I think we're ready to move on to something else now. SDL3 should be used now. They fixed a lot of weird historic mistakes. Okay. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Godot uses SDL under the hood, but I could be wrong about that, so don't quote me on that. All right, so project settings, let's uncheck that. All right, what should we work on next? I'm thinking of doing an artifact next. Artifacts are fun. Bowl of blood, gain more blood. Let's do this one. Bowl of blood, gain more blood. Okay, let's go to our artifacts now. Open file, assets, artifact, artifacts.asprite. vampire fangs. Bowl of blood. Okay, so what kind of bowl do we want to make this? Let's see. That might work. That might work, and now we got to make it look like it's dripping blood, I suppose. If I really wanted to, I could like animate this with a shader maybe to give it that same effect as the health globes. Oops. Well, this is not looking great. Actually, I think that's probably... That's, You know what? I have a different idea. Instead of a bowl, let's make it a chalice. Let's make it a chalice instead. Once again, I don't have enough space. I think I need 3 pixels of space on each side. So I'll move that down. Okay. What in the heck? Okay, so now with this layer, do this. I can have some spilling out over the edge. Like so. Okay. It's going to be hard to get the movement or the liquid moving in a sensible way, I think. That's probably all right. Yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I may well, let's see. I don't know if this color is going to work. Wonder if I should just make it dark. Although that doesn't really match. Maybe I should make this blue instead. Maybe that'll work. I don't really know. I'm not sure about this. I will need a darker color back here. I really want you to make a brain in a jar. Okay. If you remember when I was asking about doing game dev on the side while in college, but today I found out I'll probably be a psych major. Hopefully I can do both without exploding my head. Yeah, it should be fine. I think you'll be okay. You have to be a bit psyched to do game dev anyway. We will meet at the homeless shelter. That's funny. I'm gonna manipulate the heck out of my players. There you go. Hopefully one day I'll see a game dev using my language compiler. You can be the hero that you need. I don't like this. I don't like this. Although that looks kind of cool. I guess that doesn't look terrible. I hate how good he is at doing pixel art. Well, thank you. Are we making a card now? No, we're doing an artifact. Wish I was better at pixel art. I have a video on my channel. Well, I don't remember what it's called. Or how to get good at pixel art with no art skill. It's a little bit of a clickbaity title, but I think it's helpful. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yep, that looks much better actually. I almost wonder if I should not do that there. No, I need to do something. I could maybe make these purple. No, let's just leave it black. That's fine. I don't want to make it too noisy, that's the problem. Might be quit while I'm ahead territory here. I know. Quit while I'm ahead continues working. Okay, I think that's okay. I think that's fine. Okay, we're gonna call that good. I'm gonna call this chalice of blood. Just fill in the outlines, make them look a little bit nicer. Then I'll put those there. Okay, I think that's good. I have enough space everywhere. Excellent. Okay. Chalice of Blood is done. I think I'm still using the atlas for the artifacts, so I think I can just go in here, create new resource, artifact resource, Chalice of Blood. Art. Quick load. Oh no. Copy this. Paste that in there. Make unique. Edit region. Bam. Description. Gain +5 blood after every combat. I'm not going to make it a percent increase. I'm just gonna make it a flat blood amount. I don't need +5. Gain 5 additional blood after every combat. Cool. So now we need to go to the artifact registry. Add Chalice of Blood. Thank you. Okay. And now I need to figure out how to actually make that work. So I need a script for it. Artifact. New file. Chalice of Blood. Okay. So I don't know what to do with this, but that's all right. Let's do this. Currency manager. Emits interstate combat victory. I guess what I'll do is I'll just do this. I'll go to my base artifact and I'll do public why does it keep doing partial? Public virtual int modify gained currency. Return currency. And then in my artifact manager, I'm going to change this a little bit. Public void. No, why do you keep doing that? Stop changing it to partial. Public void. Currency gained, int currency. Return modified currency. So it's just going to pass that along through every artifact that you have. Modify the currency. Okay, I think that will work. This may need to be more sophisticated in the future, but what we'll do in here now is let's do a private static read-only. No, let's do private static artifact manager instance. Instance equals this. Okay. And I'm going to make these static here. Static void, static int. Is this create artifact context being called outside of this class? It is, okay. I'm just going to make these all static. If not is instance valid, artifact manager. Okay. Actually, this will be fine here. Instance.artifacts. What? What? Oh, okay then. All right then. Okay. This dot get artifact manager. Now I can just do this. Artifact manager. We'll just make that a singleton pattern. It's going to be a little bit easier from my standpoint anyway. Okay. This one I do need to, yeah, I do need to keep that reference there. This one can change artifact manager. Bam. Why did I do all this? Oh, right. I think I remember. Do I remember? Artifact event state machine. Chalice of blood. Here we go. Public override int modify gained currency. Return currency plus 5. And yes, we are doing magic numbers because it's only here. Okay, I think that will be good. So I can just verify that this is going to work now in my run manager. So add blood, so here, gd.print_s, combat configuration.currency, okay, var modified currency is equal to artifact manager dot modify gained currency. Oh, I'm going to change this to modify gained currency. Modify gained currency, combat configuration.currency. So we're going to print s the old currency and then the modified currency. And then in here, we're going to put in the modified currency. Okay. Let's see if that works. And then I'm going to return to the chat that I have neglected. Oh, I need to add, hold on a second. Run manager. Artifact manager dot add artifact. Oh, this is wrong. Game debug dot add artifact. Artifact ID dot chalice of blood. I know you failed to build the project, I know. What else do you fail at? Oh. Okay. I think there's one more error, actually. Yeah. Oops. Why does this have a reference to the artifact manager? That's kind of weird. Okay. Now we should be good. Seen it? Oh, the pixel video, yeah. Hello, Awab. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you again. Good morning, Schlurgy. Got some damage types implemented. Turns out it's not too hard when you have a damage context object. Yeah, I'm glad that helped. Yeah. Again, you just want to try to keep all of your related information together and push it through the same handling pipeline, the same data pipeline, and that's going to make your life a lot easier as you develop out your game. This is the point of game development where I get overwhelmed with managing scenes. Yeah. Alright, Chalice of Blood. Gain 5 additional blood after every combat. So let's fight this guy. I always define a constant on the class even if it's only used once. I mean, it's probably good practice, but if I was working on a team, I would definitely put a constant variable in there. But since it's just me, I kind of let those things slide to some extent. So yeah, we were going to get 6 and now we're getting 11. So that says 9. So I should get 14 from that. I still feel like the currency is a little bit underwhelming, but I don't know exactly what to do about that. This screen is very bare. I need to add some decorations to this screen. So did that give me 14? It did. So that's actually a really powerful item because after you do 3 combats, then you got 15 more blood than you otherwise would have. And blood goes a long way. now I can go to the shop up here. Let's see what artifacts we got. Basilisk Eye. 50% lifesteal, but lose 5% of max health. Let's do the spider egg. I haven't done the spider egg in a while. Why are these so close together? Did I break something? Anyway, now we can go to the shop, and we've got a lot of money now. Ooh, 18 damage and heal for the damage dealt. Don't mind if I do. Another spider egg? Oh no. Oh, the iron gauntlet though. Slash the squid, as some of the disloyal chatters might say. Why not just put your constants in a game config class? Well, if a constant is only used in a single class, then there's no need for it to be in like a globally accessible place. And even so, there's an argument to be made that it's better to expose the constant as public in the class that it's directly related to. Now, I do have a game constants class here, but this is for very commonly used things like shader, parameter names, board configuration file path, the tile size, the game turn seconds, which I actually don't think, well, maybe that is useful, I don't know. Some common input actions, and then my color palette is defined here as Godot colors. So whenever I want to reference my color palette, I can just go in here. Then I also, this is not a constant, so this probably shouldn't be here, but I can create a color BB code from a color for rich text. So it can be useful, but yeah, generally speaking, I think the constant should be in the class that they're relevant to. The value is reused somewhere else. If I'm only using it as a label, I put it on a local class, yeah. Part-time puzzle, hello, welcome to the stream, good to see you. Hello, Alitario, or I'm going to say this right one of these days, Alitorio. Have you ever used .NET watch build command? It builds every code change, and I find it helps my workflow be more efficient. Really? I am totally not going to go to the AI and fix that, or figure that out. So the Chalice of Blood is working. This game is getting better and better, if I'm allowed to say that. I'm very excited about this game. I want to get it into everyone's hands, but there's still a lot of stuff to do. One thing that I want to do is, I think the necrosis ticks in too quickly. I'm going to turn the necrosis turn threshold up to 20. That's done. Bump necrosis ticks to 20 from 15. Nerf necrosis. Hello, Brackheck, welcome. Can you double relics in this game? Yeah, there's no concept in this game of like a unique relic. So, I kind of want to keep it that way. I think it's kind of lame. I mean, I did this in Gunforged, but it's kind of lame when you have things that are like, oh, well, this is really cool, but, you know, you can only have one of them. And I think it feels much better from a player standpoint if I can just get like 3 of the same artifact. I'm like, whoa, this is so broken. I have these 3 things that are all, I'm getting, you know, if I had 3 spider eggs, like I'm getting 3 spiders after every combat, you know. That's just way more fun than, oh, well, I can only have this once. And, you know, they can still be fun items for sure, but I'm trying to just like, I think I said this a couple days ago, I'm just trying to say yes to everything. Hey, can this really powerful thing stack? Yes. You know, hey, can I upgrade this minion so it does 100 damage on hit? Yes. Can I alchemize this card so it has 20 different abilities? Yes. Can I make a card that has a 100% crit chance? Yes. You know, can I put 5 different enchantments all on the same card? Yes. It's like, why not just say yes to everything and then scale back as necessary rather than starting with the constraints, you know? But again, I'm not like a super sophisticated game designer at all, so it's possible that that strategy is not going to work, but that's the way I'm approaching it, at least for now, and we'll see how it goes. One thing I wish Godot had was private variables and namespaces. I guess they figured it'd be fine having literally everything global. Having an underscore to make private variables seems cursed to me. Yeah. No, I agree. I think accessibility in terms of like the method or property accessibility would be really helpful to have in GDScript, but you have C# as an option too. I think there's a good argument to be made that when C# becomes like with GDScript parity in terms of like being able to export to web, for instance, I think it'd be a good argument to just say, yeah, if you need that kind of control, just use C#, right? GDScript is going to be its own little thing with its own style of doing things, and we'll support C# as like a first-class scripting language if you need more than that, you know? So I can see it going both ways, I suppose. Glad to catch another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. Yes, welcome, Ruined Star. Great to see you again. Good morning, Brando. When can we play the game? I'm trying. You'll notice that I'm not really working on any new big features right now. I'm mostly just doing like a little bit more content and tightening up the gameplay loop and tightening up the visuals. I'm trying to create a very polished representation of what the final game might feel like for you all to play. I still have to do sound effects and stuff too. Why do I use C#? No, it's just personal preference. I like GDScript, so this is not a GDScript hate channel at all by any means. Most of my courses that I published on Udemy are GDScript, but for personally, I have an easier time with development when I can have all the structure that C# offers. Are you going to release a demo before full release? Yeah, there's going to be play tests. There will be playtests. The playtests will be before there's a public demo. So I'm thinking about running the playtests through Steam playtesting, and but there won't be a publicly downloadable demo. You'll have to be probably invited somehow to the playtest. I haven't figured that all out yet, but I definitely don't want this game going out broadly to the public yet. Mostly just the people who are following my work and want to playtest. They'll have an opportunity to do so. But we're probably quite a ways away from having like a publicly playable demo where that's like on the Steam page, you know? Getting overpowered is fun, just make the game harder later on. Yeah, number go up, dopamine, yeah. I heard not long ago they got a web C# build working, yes. C# also works with AI and the syntax is nicer. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you could disagree about the syntax thing, but yeah, AI definitely knows more about C# than GDScript. I forgot what I was doing. Was I in the middle of something? Or is it time to move on to something else? I think I'm good to move on to something else here. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So we got more cards that we can do. We've also got some polish elements we can do. I need to do art for the combat somehow. Oh, here's the other thing I want to do. Remove text from certain events. Alchemy, upgrade. So there's some minor stuff in here. I kind of want to do another card though. Okay, so tell you what. Here are all of the art ideas. So these are all the viable cards for the player, and these are enemy cards as well. So we could do an enemy card too. So here's what I'll do. I'll leave the screen up, and I'm going to take another quick just break to stretch a little bit, and then we'll create another card. So here's what I want the chat to do. Take a look at these lists. I know you can't see all of them, but if there's anything that stands out as a card you want to see from either the enemy or the player, put it in the chat, and then we'll figure out what ability it should have after that. And then we'll see if I can yeah, for the remainder of the stream, just get that completely implemented. So that should be an interesting one. So give me just 3 minutes. I'll be right back and we'll continue on. Again, I'll leave this screen up so you can read the options. And yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. The new outline effect is pretty cool. Yeah, thank you, Brekek. The zombie looks so Chungus. Is that a good thing? Is that a good kind of Chungus, or is that a bad kind of Chungus? Sorry, 1 second. Are there any activation effects for artifacts? Genetically enhanced chicken. Can you elaborate on what you mean by that? So are you thinking that, like, when something happens during combat, the artifact will trigger, maybe? Can you make a subtle forest background for the battle scene? Just a suggestion. I was thinking about doing like a, yeah, like a village dwelling with maybe some trees in the background. Cursed egg. Beer mug, probably with a toxic effect. Oh, that's a good one. Cursed egg, yeah, I know. I think, did you suggest that one? 2x2 hatches after X number of combat victories. Oh, that's an interesting one. So something that you have to keep in your inventory for a while. Paladin, yes. So the Paladin, I will admit, I'm not really ready to do that one, because the idea is that there will be multiple levels of the game. The first level, you're just going to be fighting like medieval peasants, right? So you're going to be fighting like dogs and oxen and horses and, you know, barkeeps and just regular old farmer villagers. Just the kinds of things that you would find in like a medieval village. But then you go to the next level and you might be fighting like a more regular army. So you might be fighting militiamen, and you might be fighting like trebuchets and catapults or whatever. And then when you go to the next level after that, now you're in like the level of the clergy. So there could be like bishops and friars and paladins and kings and like all of these like really high cultural elements of the medieval era. And so there's kind of like a thematic progression as you go through the game. So the reason I'm not ready to do a paladin yet is because that won't show up until later in the game. What is a crozier? A crozier is a shepherd's staff. It's most commonly used in a religious context nowadays. Bishops, for example, have croziers. A totem, Zomgus. Beer mug is cool to add to the game with the effect of player screen like can't see the card. Oh yeah, that would be kind of cool. It was you that suggested cursed egg. I know cursed egg is pretty interesting. Aragoth. So I think I've gotten some arguments for beer mug. but I've also gotten some arguments for the cursed egg. Is there any preference between those ones? Beer mug versus cursed egg? So the idea behind the cursed egg is that you would have to hold on to it for a certain number of combat victories, and then it would hatch and turn into something else. What it turns into, I don't know. But there's essentially going to be 2 cards involved with this. There's going to be the cursed egg, which doesn't do anything except it just tracks the number of combat victories you have, and that will trigger its like metamorphosis or its hatching into something else. Both sounds great. What will the cursed egg hatched into? I mean, it might be fun to hatch it into like an imp or something. Like yeah, an imp might be cool. Or some kind of other hell spawn. I think you can create a live poll on the stream. Oh, does that work? Okay, let's see if we get... How do I create a poll? Start a poll. Okay. Beer mug, cursed egg. Okay. What card should we make? Okay, the poll has started. Let's see what happens. I don't know if I'm going to get much engagement on this, but let's see. Let's go. Let's get those votes in. What do we got going on here? All right, voting is open. We've got 13 votes so far, 15 votes. I'll give it a minute or so. So if you want to see what card to work on next between beer mug and cursed egg, get your votes in now. I like the imp idea. Stop the count. Anybody got some friends in high places that can interfere with this vote? We got 21 votes. The chalice of blood adds blood, but you need to look hard the number to know it works now. Maybe a jiggle. Oh, I see. So you mean like play an animation? I see, yeah. I think animations for artifacts are going to be definitely something that I want to do. Cursed egg. Gargoyle we don't have yet. Oh, that's a good idea. Let's do a gargoyle as one of the future options. Add some poison to your game. I have poison, yeah. Poison exists in the game. You can't vote. Let me deploy my bots. All right, I'm going to close it in a couple of seconds here. We'll give it 15 more seconds, which should account for the lag. So if you haven't yet voted on what we're working on, you have now 10 seconds at this point. Honestly, I don't think the vote is going to change that much anyway in the next 10 seconds. So, all right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're ending the poll, and the cursed egg was the winner. Cursed egg winner. The beer mug got actually quite a few votes. I thought the cursed egg was going to win by a huge margin, but it was much smaller than I thought. All right, so let's do the cursed egg then. I will set aside the dictatorial nature of this stream momentarily to give the people what they want. Okay. So it's a 2x2 egg that hatches after X number of combat victories. So that part alone is going to be relatively tricky, I think. Because I don't yet have a concept of cards hooking into like the overall game state. So that alone is actually going to be kind of difficult. But as is usual, that system is going to enable all kinds of other things in the game. So we might as well add it. So are we going to make it spawn an imp then? So if we're going to make it spawn an imp, then what I might do is, let's see. I might, you know, like the dinosaur eggs? I might make this look more like a dinosaur egg. Because dinosaur eggs are more like... that kind of shape. I wonder if I could do like a silhouette in here. Could I do it? Like, could I do a little impling silhouette? Oops. I think this needs to be moved down, actually. Let's see. That's probably good enough. I'm just having trouble framing this correctly. Oops. Oops. What in the heck? Oops. Okay. I actually don't know if I want that color there. I guess it's okay. As long as I just use it elsewhere too. All right. And then what I can do is I can kind of, I don't know, paint over it a little bit so it looks not so clear. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it look a little bit translucent. Don't know if this is going to work out that great. Oops. Yeah. Translucency is very hard for me still. Very hard to make something look translucent with the limited color palette. But that could just be me coping too. You never know. What I really need is I need this background section to look even darker, but I don't think that's going to work with the colors I have. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. I mean, I think that looks, I mean, it looks decent. It doesn't look terrible. But yeah, it also doesn't look decent either, like I said. I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look great, I don't think. Well, let's see what you all are saying. Lame. Oh, did you vote for the beer mug? Maybe the egg hatches and shows up later as a new card or artifact. That's an interesting idea. Breakfast time, beer makes more sense than the eggs. Guided democracy just works. Yeah. For the cursed egg, do you hold that in your inventory or in your deploy board? Either one will work, yeah. Backpack Brawl has an item evolution system that's pretty cool. The egg could evolve into a hatched version. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. I don't think it's going to have any basic abilities, though, but maybe it will. The Forbidden Jelly Bean. If it looks like a jelly bean, then I've succeeded. I've just completed your course, created complete 2D Survivors, and it was awesome. I learned so much from it. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. Yeah, thank you, Guillermo. I hope I said your name correctly. Thank you for taking it, and I'm glad you got a lot of value out of it. Thank you, thank you. It looks difficult. Anything translucent like this or with a bunch of reflections like glass has got to be tough. Yeah. I like where it's going. Hello, Pocket Pixie. The next notch, yeah. We're back on this again. I don't know, but when I see it, it doesn't look like an egg. Well, it's supposed to be like a... It's supposed to be like a... This is going to hatch an imp. So it needs to look like an egg that's come from the pits of hell. Do you know what you kind of know what I'm going for? So if it doesn't look like a traditional egg, that's because it's not. I'm kind of modeling it after like a dinosaur egg. So that's why it's got a more cylindrical shape. Do you know what I'm talking about? Let's see. Maybe I'm just making stuff up. Obviously, different dinosaurs would have had different eggs. Yeah. See? Dinosaur eggs, see how they're like oval or they're capsule shaped? That's a good one. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for. An imp? Make it hatch a baby angel instead? Well, if you're a necromancer, you shouldn't have an angel. And what's in the egg? It will be an imp, I think. Dinosaur makes more sense. I got the trail working. Very nice, Chris. Very nice. Congratulations. Imagine the cursed egg can randomly hatch a different creature for your board. How did you learn pixel art? I'm suffering. Any tips? I have a video on my channel, how to get good at pixel art with no art skill. So, if you're interested, watch that video. That's basically the 5 tips that I learned that made an immediate impact in the quality of my pixel art. So you may find that helpful. You may find that helpful. Yeah, honestly, that video contains all the tips that I would give anyone starting to learn pixel art, because like those are the things that I learned, like I said, that made, like when I say it made an overnight improvement in the quality of my art, I'm not exaggerating. That's not like marketing talk. It's literally true. They're just like 5 simple tips that if you apply them, you will definitely notice a difference in the quality of your art. You know, obviously you're still going to need to practice a lot to get good at pixel art, but that will get you started for sure. All right, I think it's looking okay actually. Maybe I'll quit while I'm ahead again. All right, there we go. Oh, I just saved it over 2x2. Okay, that's fine. This is why we use version control, folks. Cursed egg. So now what I can do is I can go to my 2x2 and undo that. Cool. All right, let's create the card now. I'm gonna do something really funny, like make it a 999 turn cooldown, or 99, or 100. Let's just do 100. Tags. We'll give it a alchemical tag while it's in egg form. It's a 2x2. You know what? It's gonna be funny. I might give this a 25% crit chance and a 2 crit multiplier. What does my dowsing rod do? Yeah, so the cursed egg, if you want, you could alchemize the cursed egg with something to gain its properties. Oh, that's another good point. I'm gonna need to make sure that this cursed egg ability doesn't get alchemized onto anything else. So it's gonna be non-alchemizable, because this is gonna have an ability that basically says it will hatch after X amount of X amount of combat encounters, but that ability shouldn't be transferable to other cards. Basically, when you alchemize this card, it should just basically not... Well, let me think. It'd be kind of cool if you could alchemize stuff onto the egg and then have the imp inherit all of those things. Shoot, this is going to be a little bit complicated. Dang it, what did you guys... I shouldn't have done a vote. I should have just done the beer mug. Oh boy. Well, it's going to be doable. It's everything's doable. It's just a matter of figuring out a smart way to do it. Fossil Egg is a Pokemon card? Interesting, okay. I didn't know that. What about you, some greenish color? Well, I want it to look like it came from the pits of hell. I don't think green will help with that. Green eggs with ham is a different thing. 666. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Oh, why not? Yeah, why not? Let's do it. Good suggestion. When you're doing pixel art games, how do you choose the base screen size to make the arts based on it? I just always go with 640 by 360. I think 640 by 360 is a good compromise between having enough space to do the things that you need to do and also being small enough where the art is still like manageable. And the other thing about 640 by 360 is that it's evenly multipliable into all the common 16 by 9 sizes. So it's evenly multipliable into 1280 by 720. It's evenly multiplied into 1920 by 1080, 1440 by, or 2560 by 1440, and then whatever the 3 or the 4K resolution is, I think, as well. And that's important because if you want your game to be pixel perfect, then you can scale it up to all the full screen sizes of all of those common 16:9 ratios, and it will be pixel perfect by default without any black bars or anything. 480 by 270, yeah. So this game is 640 by 360. Gunforged is 640 by 360. But the big problem is that, yeah, if you want to be like really strictly pixel perfect, the biggest issue you're going to have is a font size. Because like this, do you see how big this text is here? This text cannot be any smaller than this on the screen. So that means that every letter is basically going to have to be that size at a minimum. And so that's another consideration you need to make. Now you can mix and match, right? You can make your UI a higher resolution than what the game is rendering at. So if you have a very information dense game that you want to retain the pixel look of, you have options. You can make the UI have more resolution available to it compared to your base rendering resolution, but that can get very complicated too. So I just tend to stick with this 640 and then I just adopt that as a constraint, and I say, well, if I have information, like dense information, I just need to figure out how to make it fit. Okay, so I'm just gonna say add cursed egg art. Okay, so now we need to make an ability for this. How in the world am I gonna do this? I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I don't know. I don't know. So the thing about the cards is that they don't have any knowledge of the overall game state. And so the number of combat encounters that you've completed is sort of a game state piece of information that needs to be passed into any card that needs that information. An easy way to do it, yeah, I don't know actually. I just noticed that the animation, 2 bottles in the bottom of your game view. How did you do it? It's so cool. Yeah, thank you. It's very simple actually. I can show you real quick. So in here, so this is just a mask texture. So there's a sprite here that just masks the flowing sprites behind. These are just textures that are just drawn with some kind of repeating pattern. And they are being scrolled and warped a little bit with a shader. So that's just modifying the UV positions both for scrolling but also up and down to create a wavy effect. And then this mask comes in and clips it so that those don't exceed the boundaries of the globe. And that's it. And then all that this is this swirls here. This just gets repositioned based on this progress bar, which is the remainder of the health. So I've got a texture progress bar that is filling, the majority of the health. And then there's like a little cap on top, which is being done with this node group here. And that's it. It's really simple actually. I would do it with a static event, probably not the best way though. Yeah, well, the thing that I have to consider too is that I want to build it in a way where I could pull in that information for other cards. So I could have a card that like gains power based on the number of combat events you've completed, right? And so I'm trying to make everything in this game where if I like need some data, I try not to do it in a one-off way. I try to do it in a way where I could use that then for any future cards if I want to. And also it just helps me stay within the constraints of my system as well without having a bunch of, sort of like one-off events happening everywhere. Made another live session, but it looks like I'm at the tail end. Got the networking course and stoked to start it. Awesome. Thank you, Sean. And yeah, I'm going to keep going for a little bit. I'm going to try to at least get this hatching to work. But I just don't know how I'm going to get that data to where I need it to be. I wonder if the AI would be helpful for some brainstorming here. Let's just see. My game, I am creating a new card that should transform into another card after a certain number of successfully completed combat encounters. Recommend some clean and maintainable ways to approach this by analyzing my current code structure. I've included many of the relevant files and folders in this context. Okay, so add context ability. Add context, files and folders ability. We got the run manager, add context, base card. Let's see what it does. Did it get stuck? Oh no, it didn't. Use the existing enchantment system since it already has turn-based execution. That's not going to work. Combat victory transformation. Combat victory tracker. Okay. Trying to figure out how to do this in as clean a way as possible. So the base card class, the AI was kind of helpful, but not really. The base card class here is a purely logical class. It doesn't interact with the Godot scene tree directly. It does extend ref counted, I think, because I need to pass around references to it in signals, if I'm not mistaken. Why is this ref counted? Maybe... Oh goodness, that's not going to help. Oh right, it's ref counted because I need to be able to instantiate it. Okay, so never mind. So anyway, but it doesn't interact with the Godot scene tree directly, and it doesn't have any knowledge of game state. This is just a purely logical class based on the configuration that it has. It just runs through its logic, and it takes in a context here, this execution context, and it passes that along to everything that it needs. And this execution context is what contains all the data about the current game state. So source board, target board, the card that's executing currently, basically just a data container that has all the relevant data necessary to execute all these abilities. But I have something that sits over top of it that's called a card stats object. And this card stats object is basically what ties that logical component to the visual component. So this card stats manages the actual card node in here. And this card node is the actual thing that gets placed in the scene tree. So this is where all the card display is happening and all that stuff. So the card stats object is kind of like a glue object that holds those two things together and has different capabilities. But I think this is where, so I can emit and handle signals from this ref counted object because this is a Godot object. So what I can do, I think, is I'm already listing for combat started and combat ended. So if there's a game event that I can use that tells me, yeah, combat victory, right? So that combat victory, when that gets emitted, I could handle that at the card stats level. And then on combat victory, I can trigger inside of the base card a increment of like a combat victory tracker here. The problem with this though, how does my alchemy system work? The problem with this is that if I alchemize the egg with something, if I combine it with a different card, it may be the case that I'll actually lose the current tracked value of combat victories. So where is my alchemy system? So this is the alchemy code right here. This is what mixes cards together. Here. So it's duplicating the abilities. Okay, I don't know about this. I don't know if I should take it. I don't know if I should implement it as an ability necessarily. Although, like I said, I do want the combat victory tracker to be reusable. So maybe I'll just have to, in my duplicate of this thing, okay, I think I have an approach that I want to take here. The other thing that I have to consider too is if I want to support an animation for when the thing hatches, which I think I will want to do. So that's yet another wrinkle in the old problem here. The problem with responding to a victory signal is that I lose, if I'm responding to signals, I lose the ability to like await animations, right? Because a signal is something that's just emitted out that you handle immediately. But if I want to, let's say as part of that signal handling, pause the game to wait for an animation to play, that's going to be exceedingly difficult with a signal approach. Which is why I'm not using signals mostly for the code that's driving the cards, because I just call the methods to drive the cards directly, and then those can be awaited if necessary. So there's quite a few things going on here. Insane wobbly effect, yeah. How do you make the mask follow the progress bar? Yeah, so in that health globe, it's just a matter of calculating the height of the progress bar. So if you know what the size of your texture is, which you should know, then you could just take the progress bar percentage, the percent that it's full, and multiply that by the height, and then you get the position where this mask should be here. Hello, Redeus. Welcome, good to see you. These types of abilities might force you to create systems that allow new card types later. Yeah. Hello, Neozoid. Oh, cool, TY, you're welcome. You're welcome, Leo. Yeah, and here's another smart thing that I would recommend. Whenever you're using a progress bar, I would always recommend just make it in the Godot editor. Make the progress bar always exist on a min and max value of 0 to 1. Now, maybe always is too strong, but if you just make it so your progress bar is automatically expressed as a percentage, so you have min value 0, max value 1, and then you can change the step down to be a little bit more granular if you need it to be. That's going to make your life so much easier whenever you're working with progress bars, because then the underlying values of the health, like my max health value, can change, and I don't need to change the progress bar because it's just expressed as a percentage, right? So when my max health changes, I just calculate the new percent and apply that directly to the progress bar value. I don't need to change the min and max values of the progress bar at runtime at all because it's just on a 0 to 1 range. So that's just a very easy way of working with progress bars, in my opinion. And that's basically how I set up all my progress bars too. Even when I'm doing like options menu, like with like sound effects sliders or whatever, just always on a 0 to 1 range, and then I, you know, store the real values under the hood. Anyway. Well, I guess let's just get started, and we'll see if I get into some trouble here. I'm getting very hungry, but we're going to power on. We're going to power on. So scripts, data, ability. We're going to do a new combat victory tracker. Combat victory, let's do provider, because that's kind of like the approach that I'm using. This AI is actually not very helpful. Namespace game.data. Oh no. Don't, come on, VS Code. Okay. We'll reload the window. I'll rewatch this later to figure out exactly what you mean. I'm a beginner. Thanks for the tips. You're welcome. Hello, A the Ant. Good to see you. Do you find C# gives you more freedom making things work easily, or is it mostly just preference? For me, I mean, yeah, it's preference, but I prefer it because, yeah, it makes it easier for me to organize these relatively complex systems. Are you using VS Code now instead of Cursor? Yeah, I switched away from Cursor a couple months ago because the C# extensions no longer worked with Cursor. Why is that not working? Huh? Oh, it exists on the base card ability. Okay. So private int combat victories. We're going to create a new file, iCombatVictory listener. Namespace game.data.ability. Public interface, iCombatVictory listener. Okay. So we've got our combat victory provider now. So let's go and tie this into the card stats then. Game events.instance.connect. Game events.signalname.combat victory. Callable.from on combat victory. Private void on combat victory. Base card dot on combat victory. Let's go into the base card here. What? Oh no. Base card. Public void. I'll just do on combat victory here. I don't think this needs the execution context in here. So the way that this is going to work is that this card stats is going to listen for the game event that is the combat victory. And then what it's going to do is it's going to call on combat victory on the card, on the logical card that it has. Then for every ability in the abilities where they are combat victory listeners, we're going to call that on combat victory. And that card stat, or this combat victory provider, is going to increment that number. Okay. So yeah, there's a bunch of questions here, but let's just do this. Do I need... Oh man, I don't know. I might need the execution context. The problem that I'm going to ultimately run into is that when that card hatches, I'm probably going to want to play an animation, but also I need to remove that card from the board and place the hatched version right at the same spot. This is going to be very tricky. So this kind of happens outside the typical life cycle of how the cards work. So I guess the next step here is, what's the next step? I need to add combat victory transformation or transform.cs. What did the AI suggest? Combat victory transformation. It's going to do the combat victory tracker. Required victories transform into card ID. I mean, I might as well just copy this. This is a good base to work off of. Namespace game.data.ability.composed. Every time I open the chat, it lags out. Okay, there we go. This is combat victory provider. I don't know. Shouldn't trackers be under a different directory? Why abilities? Everything is essentially an ability. So all these things here are abilities, or, I mean, I guess you could make an argument that some of the interfaces should be in different places, but a lot of these things have execute. Anything that extends base card ability has an execute function. Which honestly, I may not even need that for this iCombat Victory Listener. I don't need this to be... I don't need that to be a base card. Coffee suppresses the feel of hunger. I already drank my coffee. Copilot does pretty well, I hear too. Yeah, it does, yeah. I agree that Cursor is better though. Are you using the free Copilot version? No, I'm paying. Cursor can't compare. Alliteration always acts awesomely. Alternation sometimes has amazing sounds, yeah. Why did I just find a dead ladybug on my neck? I'm disturbed. How does the Phoenix work? Doesn't it have an animation too? It does not, no. I mean, it switches to a different card, but it doesn't, or a different art, but it doesn't animate yet. So I'm gonna have to figure that out too. It's alive. What's alive? Oh, the ladybug? This is gonna be really hard, everybody. It's gonna be very difficult. Combat Victory Provider. I don't know about this.
Computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
I don't know about this. I mean, this provider is basically going to work the way that I need it to work. I am stuck. Chat chooses clogged computer. I am stuck. So the problem is that I don't have a way of listening for when that value hits the threshold that it needs to hit. Oh, this does need to be an ability. I just remembered. That does need to be an ability. Because when this is called, this on combat victory, this is looping over all the abilities of type. Wow, this is a difficult one. This cursed egg is going to be the death of me. How appropriate. Once you have a Discord server set up, could you have a playtest section? Since a lot of us are indie devs, I think a dedicated area where the community can playtest each other's games would be useful. Yeah, for sure. I think that would be very nice, actually. Wow. I don't have enough people to spread the game for a proper playtest. Yeah. I think something like that would be fine. Would be really good, actually. What am I supposed to do here, chat? What am I going to do? What am I going to do, everybody? The only thing I can think of, really, which is not ideal, the only thing I can think of is so the fundamental problem that I'm having here now is the combat victory provider is going to work. This is going to provide the number of victories, and that's going to increment by 1 every time you win. Okay, that's all fine. The problem fundamentally, though, is that in this combat victory transform, there needs to be a way of listening for when that value changes. But I'm also keeping in mind that I'm probably going to want an animation. So I think the only way that I'm really going to be able to do this is if I put like an ability dot post combat victory in here that I can override. Oh goodness, this is bogging down. So in this base card ability here, I would do something like public virtual void post combat victory. Okay. And then what I could do in the base card here is do that post combat victory. Why is it not working? Oh. Post-combat victory. Well, I guess I could do this. Ability is base card ability. I don't know if I like that. Okay, my window is like very much lagging here. I think the chat, the AI chat is bogging it down. Firebelly finesses bugs with binary fluency. Fixes bugs. Oh, finesses. How's your class structure? Do you use a lot of inheritance or more composition or both? It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. I'm using composition with all of my interfaces and stuff for this, but I'm also using inheritance for a lot of things like this post-combat victory. It's just an inherited virtual method from base card ability. I don't know if I really like this, but this is going to at least get me moving, so... Now what I can do in here is public override void post combat victory. If victory provider dot get value is equal to required victories, then I can do all the stuff that I need to do. I don't want this transform into card ID necessarily, at least not yet. So I'm going to get rid of this. What am I missing? Scale for tier, duplicate internal. I'm going to do this though, int current victories. Victory provider.set. Do I not have a way of setting the value? I won't make that. Let's just do public int set, or no, public void set value, int value. So the problem is if it gets duplicated, I just want to preserve that value. Okay. Okay. Hatches, I'll just do hatches after required victories, combat victories. Okay. So post-combat victory, this is where the transformation would happen, but for now I'm just going to do gd.print yo fam, just to make sure that this much is working. I'm not really in love with this approach, but whatever gets it to work. Cursedegg.cs. My cat is yelling at me now. Okay. Cursed egg. This is going to be new card. Combat victory transform. Let's just do 1 and 0. Oops. 1 and 0 for now. Okay, let's go to my run manager now. All right, let's see if I at least did all that correctly. Okay. Cursed egg, 666 turns. Hatches after 1 combat, so that's improper language, but that's okay because it's going to be higher. So I'm going to go ahead and go into here, and let's see if I get that yo fam print in the output when the combat victory happens. I did not get a yo fam print. Oops, I put a breakpoint and I didn't run the debug version. Let's see. Okay, so it's not working at all. Oh, I think I know why. Do I know why? Nope, I actually don't know why. Put a breakpoint there and see what happens. Oh boy, this is a mess. Marionette, very nice. Okay. So this is the ability combat victory provider. Let's step into that. That should increment the combat victories. So now it's 1. Okay, now I'll step out. Step over. Oh, yeah. Oops. This is wrong because this is filtering by iCombat Victory Listener. So what I need to do instead is do this. Ability.post combat victory if ability is iCombat Victory Listener. Oh, this isn't going to work either. Okay. We're going to have to do this a different way. I need to tick up all of the combat victory listeners first. var abilities is equal to get all abilities. Okay, this can turn into abilities. For each var ability in abilities. Ability dot post combat victory. Okay. So we need to tick up all the victory listeners first, and then we can call the post-combat victory. I don't know about this one, but let's see if we get the yo fam printing at least. Let's see if we get that yo fam printing. I think it's going to work this time. But I have been wrong before. Okay, now we've got yo fam. So we got yo fam. So now this is where the tricky part is going to come in, which is going to be getting this to actually transform into the card it needs to transform into. That's going to be very tricky, actually. I think I have a way I can do it, but yeah. It will work now, I told you. Yes. It's time for game dev once again. Yes, indeed. All right, tell you what. I need to go take a break for lunch. So what I might do is I might go get some lunch, and then maybe I'll come back to the stream. I'm having fun streaming today. Not that I don't usually have fun streaming, but I do need to take a bit of a break. So I think maybe hit the notification bell. I might be back in a couple of hours to finish this because I think it's a really interesting thing to do with the egg transform. And I do want to draw the art for the imp that the egg is going to hatch into on stream so you all can see that. McDonald's? Oh no, you know me too well. You know me too well. I would say that I should be worried about my arteries and whatnot, but my blood pressure is perfect. So I know that's not really indicative of overall health, but hey. So I'm going to commit this. Begin work on cursed egg. I've been convinced to convert my project to C# static typing for the win. Yes, indeed. Yeah. So anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you all for being here. Again, I'll probably be back on in a couple of hours. So if you want to just hit the notification bell to be notified when I come back online. And if you want to continue watching me struggle with how to make this cursed egg work, then that'll be fun to have you back here. But if you want to support me, you can purchase my cooperative online multiplayer game course. This course will teach you everything you need to know about the essentials of the multiplayer networking system in Godot. So remote procedure calls, server authoritative architecture, multiplayer spawner, multiplayer synchronizer, You learn all those things. This is linked in the description below. Use my referral code, which you automatically use if you use the link below, because I get the majority of the sale. Again, it's a great way to support me, and it's also a great way to kickstart learning how to build multiplayer games in Godot. And I have other courses for sale as well, so you can check those out. All right, what will I do while I make my coffee? I don't know. All right, well, I'll probably be back later, like I said, so I hope to see you there. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and I will talk to you next time. All right, bye-bye.